We were talking about Moana. The reviews came out for Moana. Not good. Not great. I mean, some of the critics liked it. Some of them did, but the vast majority of them did it. The last I checked, it had a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty unfortunate because, I'm all for Moana doing the live action thing. I really am. I'm all for it. I don't see any problem with doing it. I think when you make a live action out of something, it creates a completely unique experience, even if it's the exact same story. I was totally for the idea that they decided to get Dwayne Johnson to come back and actually do the role of Maui himself. I was all for it. Didn't love the trailers. Actually, really didn't quite like the first one. I thought the second one was much better, but still not great, but whatever. Reviews came out, they're terrible. And now, as is being reported here by our friends over at Joe Blow, the box office prediction for Moana is not so great. Now, you've got to remember that Moana 2, the animated film, was a $1 billion film. $1 billion film. They're saying that Moana, the live action, which, when first announced, there are absolutely visions of it having the potential of being a $1 billion film as well, if it's good and all that kind of stuff. Well, they're saying that it is right now being projected to open to $45 million. Now, to put that into perspective, now for some movies, that would be considered great. I'm not going to brush over that. Yeah, for sure. For some movies, if they got a $45 million opening weekend, they would consider that great. However, it's not really the same thing if you're Moana. Because if we go over and take a look at this, the first Moana, all the way back in 2016, that opened to $56.6 million before anybody knew what Moana was, before it became the global streaming sensation where it was like the number one streamed movie for 4 years in a row. That opened to $56.6 million. Moana 2 opened to $139.7 million. $139.7 million. But Moana, this one, the live action, is not just opening practically 3 times lower than Moana 2 did. It's opening even below the original Moana. And that has got to be kind of considered a little bit of a disaster for them. Again, 45 million could be worse. But in context, guys, I think it's one thing. It would have been okay that it not open as big as Moana 2, because that was a monstrous opening. That's fine. But you got to at least think it's going to open bigger than the original Moana now that the franchise is so big. The last movie made over $1 billion, but word of mouth and reviews do a lot. And I would also suspect, and I hate saying this because he's probably my second favorite movie star. I think there is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson fatigue. Now it's going to be interesting to see if that's true when Jumanji comes out, because I love those movies, but I guess it just didn't click with people. Rob, we saw the reviews, not great. I actually canceled my tickets to go see it today. Wow. The reviews are bad enough, and I heard from enough people that I know that saw it. I'm like, I'd rather sit home and watch the World Cup this afternoon, quite frankly. So I'm going to take a pass on Moana, but still, I would have thought it would open to more than 45. How did this strike you? Is this surprising, not surprising? What do you attribute it to?
John, since we've been seeing live action trailers for this movie, I have found myself, I try and look at things objectively, even if it's not something that's my speed. I still examine from my own perspective marketing materials, and because even if I don't have a huge want to see factor, you can still see if a movie's being well marketed. Objectively, you can look at. I've watched this movie and I've found the material. The materials, the trailers and things, to be strangely distancing. Like, I've looked at this and I'm like, because I really liked the first Moana.
Oh, I love it.
And I watched these trailers and they've never clicked for me. Some they got better. And I've asked myself, what is it about this movie that I don't think clicks very well? And you know what? I think this movie is too much of a hybrid. When you're looking at it, it doesn't really look like a live action movie that's set like they went and filmed it on the ocean. It looks like it looks animated. Most of it does. The effects, the set pieces, they're not set in quote unquote the real world. And like when you watch, say, Cinderella, our beloved Cinderella, that Kenneth
Love
Branagh
that
directed,
movie.
you have effects, but you're watching a movie that's shot on real sets, with real people, and it's not a hybridization where you're seeing all of these CG creatures and things that look like they belong in an animated movie. So when you're watching this, I think that's what probably has distanced me. It just doesn't look like something. I'd rather go back and watch the original.
Yeah, I like we talked before about the fact that I'm even okay with a live action adaptation doing beat for beat. I'm cool with that. But while doing it beat for beat, you've got to breathe a different kind of soul into it and give it its own life.
Yes.
And the marketing materials for this just kind of felt a little bit lifeless. Nadia, I think you were at CinemaCon, you saw the previews for it and all that kind of stuff. What were your thoughts about them even doing it? Are you surprised to see that the projections are this low? Can they beat it? And what do you attribute it to?
I feel like audience enthusiasm. I think Chris is right. Shout out to my homie Chris. I think he's right that audience enthusiasm for live action Disney movies right now is kind of fading. In general, I don't think there's been enough that have hit well enough where people are like completely sold on the idea, and that's kind of sad because there's so much that they can pull to make a live action adaptation. The source is right there, like you said. Like literally, this was almost beat for beat. Like, how do you get that wrong? So it's kind of sad that audiences and influencers, journalists, critics, everyone, I think kind of has the same feeling. Like even a lot of my influencer friends that love Disney were not excited for this movie. So it's kind of sad to see that. In terms of like the CGI and everything, it didn't look that great to me. It looks like green screen, and I'm a practical girly, and something like this, like you said, they literally could have went to the beach. Like why can't you just go to the beach and have like a beautiful set and beautiful colors and the costuming, like all of that should come to life, and to make it drab and just a green screen and poor CGI is another letdown again.
Yeah, I heard a few people say it kind of looks like they shot it on the volume. Although we know for a fact they did go to location in Hawaii and shoot some stuff there, but you're right, it kind of feels like it's shot on the volume. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The opening weekend projections for Moana are pretty low considering the hype and the size of the franchise. It's going to open to a franchise lowest, they're saying around $45 million. Maybe it can come in higher than that. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts.